How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the homestead. I hope you guys are doing well. I am incredibly stressed out. You guys can see that I had a great day cutting firewood today. I got a pretty good truckload. Had fun running my three saws. Actually, I only ran two of them. The 391 sat sideline because the 650 it's powerhouse. But I was checking on the chickens when they were putting themselves up tonight. So all of this happened within the span of an hour. I had to move my truck inside the shop because it started to rain. I didn't want all that to get rained on. And about an hour later, I go out to close the coop, close the gate, do all that stuff, put up the chickens. Number one of my hens is missing. There's no pile of feathers. There's no signs of a struggle. There's no nothing. Just poof, gone. There goes one of my hens. So I'm down to 4 fully grown hens now. That really sucks. Then mama hen decided that she's done being broody. So she hopped off of her chicks tonight. She decided she's not going to sit on them anymore. I kind of realized that was going to be happening soon because she was really kind of meshing with the flock once again when they were scratching together and going around the property together, free ranging. It was really apparent that she was more joining the flock rather than paying attention to the chicks. And tonight she decided to hop up on that roost. Unfortunately, the other hens, they don't want her there. The other hens, because she hasn't been roosting on that roost or inside the coop at all. Let's remember the nesting box is completely separate. She hasn't been in that coop at all. So the other hens, they're just like, screw you. Why are you inside my house? So she's now at the bottom of the pecking order and roosting alone because none of the other birds want to be next to her. So missing a hen. Mama hen abandoned her chicks. It's been 6 weeks, so they are old enough to go inside the coop finally. But abandoned her chicks and is now getting bullied by the other hens and is at the bottom of the pecking order, roosting alone. And the other chicks, forgot to mention, couldn't find their way back inside the coop with the rest of the hens. They are currently cuddled up, huddled together, inside the nesting box, inside the generator enclosure turned into a nesting box. So I really want to get them inside that coop so I can take back my generator enclosure. It's starting to rain. We're getting back to the rainy season, so kind of want to get that thing back. But at the same time, I want to make sure that those chicks are going to go in there and integrate well. So here's the problem. It's going to be 47 degrees. That's the lowest theoretically that the temperature said it's going to get, or the forecast said it was going to get. So that's pretty damn cold, especially for chicks. If it wasn't so cold, I would just leave them in the nesting box and just say, they'll find their way. But I think I have to move them inside the coop. I think I have to try putting them on the roost. And being as the other hens don't like mama being in there, I can only imagine how they feel about the chicks going in there, right? That's going to be fun, moving them inside the coop. Can't wait. How does this happen all, again, within the span of an hour? Within the span of an hour, one of my hens gets lost. One of my hens abandons her chicks. The chicks can't find their way into the roost. And the hens that are currently roosting don't like mama and probably won't like the chicks. Go figure. It's so much fun running a homestead and raising chickens. This is what comes with it, people. If you think it's all sunshine and roses and daisies and just going out there and picking up an egg every single day and, you can make your omelet and, every few days you have a new fresh dozen eggs, it's not all that easy. If you think you're just going to go out and cut some firewood and, there you go, you have a great free heat source. It doesn't always go that way. Sometimes it's a little tough. So, I sometimes view myself as being way too lazy and living a lifestyle that I almost view as lazy. But then I realize that if you've ever if you've ever done serious, intense exercise, you may understand the concept of high intensity interval training, where you just go super hard, you run super fast, you sprint, and you do that for intervals over and over and over again, or you go on the bike, or you do whatever it is over and over again in intervals, but you do it as hard as you can, as fast as you can, as strong as you can for that time, and then you rest for a period. That's basically what I'm doing. Every once in a while, I got to go out and cut some firewood, and then I got to split it by hand, and then my hens, have some fun for me to deal with. But then the rest of the time, I get to enjoy myself because I get to enjoy the lifestyle that I'm working on creating because, I love it and I hate it. I'll just end it with saying that. So I'm going to try to move the chicks into the coop. First off, what I'm going to do, I need to check on the coop itself. I need to check to see if mama hen is roosting with the other hens, which would be wonderful. That would be great. If that's happening, perfect. And usually that's what happens at night because they can't see each other, so they don't know who's roosting together. But then, of course, the chicks, that's going to be a totally different story. So they're going to recognize the size of them. So if I'm putting them next to their mom, that's one thing. If I'm putting them next to the hens, that's a different story. So we're going to see how it goes. I will report back here once it's all done. Hopefully it all goes well. I also forgot to mention that I need to remove the plywood that's on the front of the coop, or the nesting box, I should say, to allow me to get in there and get the chicks. And doing that, I'm sure, is really going to make those chicks super happy, as they're already really happy to be abandoned by their mom and be alone inside that coop. So this is fun. This is so much fun. I am loving this. Let's go. So that went all right. At least it seemed like it did. I won't know until the morning, to tell you the truth, because whether it's in my head or not, I kind of feel like every 10 to 15 seconds I hear kind of a exaggerated chirp or an exaggerated peep, as if they're not getting along in there. I think it's going to go okay. When I was putting them on the roost, it went okay. The one chick, it's a lot bigger than the other one. It's about twice the size of the other one. So that one I think is going to get along fine. The little one, the smaller one, I don't know. Thankfully, when I opened the door to the coop, the mama hen was still separated from the other ones. Good. And they had the wall, and then mama hen was just about one space for a full-size chicken away from that wall. Perfect. Smallest chick first, largest chick second, right next to the mom, in between the mom and the wall. So if anything's going to happen, one of the chicks is going to fall off the roost and not going to be able to find its way back up because it's so dark. I also worry a little bit about the smallest chick, or the little one I should say, because there's only 2 chicks at this point. Worry about it getting up onto the roost at night and getting down, because it's really small. A lot smaller than the first hens, the original hens, were when I brought them outside. So we'll see. It is able to jump up on the log that's inside the run there pretty easily. It's got hops, let's say. So I'm sure the people that raise chickens, or have raised chickens for a while and know quite a bit about it, are laughing at me through this entire process, that if they're following along, because everything about this entire process, from the time I got the first chicks until now, if you know what you're doing and you're watching this, it's a laughing stock, I'm sure. So I hope this goes well. I thought I just heard some peeping, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I think it's all in my head. I am a little bit crazy after all. You guys probably know that, so I don't know. I am going to set an alarm to get up early in the morning, right before the sun rises, because thankfully The sun rises pretty late now. It's starting to get to that time. The sun's setting at about 7 o'clock, maybe like 7:15 at this point. And it's starting to rise, I'd say in the 6 o'clock range. So it's doing pretty good. I won't have to get up too early after all, but I'll still set an alarm, go out and open up the coop to at least allow them to go inside the run. I'm not going to allow them to go outside the run and open up the fence until it's light out, because I don't know what happened to that hen. And even then, I'm only going to let them free range because the chicks are so brand new. They've been here for 6 weeks. They should be acclimated. The broody hen that's been inside that run with the other chicks, an original hen, isn't integrated fully with the flock at this point because she was away from the flock for so long. So I can only imagine how the smaller chicks would fare. So yeah, I'm going to allow them to free range, at least for now. I know it's risky. I'm going to try to spend tomorrow to see if I could find the kill site, because if I'm able to narrow down what happened and what caused it, hopefully I could prevent it from happening again. So we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully all goes well out there. I'll keep you updated.
Good morning, everyone. It is 3:45. I figured that waking up with my insomnia would be a little easier than waking up to an alarm, so we're up earlier than expected. Sunrise is at, I believe, 6:09, so about 2 hours or so. I don't remember exactly because I looked last night, and I'm incredibly tired right now, so please forgive me. It's starting to sprinkle a little bit, so I better get down there. I'm going to open up the chicken coop, but close off the fenced-in run. That way, once the sun does rise, all the hens as well as chicks can hop off the roost and hopefully go out there in peace, have a great day together. So that's the plan. We'll see how it works.
So a quick update before I go to bed. Thankfully, there were no major problems when I went out there. Unfortunately, the smaller chick did not last on the roost. Kind of suspected that was going to be the case because it was a little too small. It's at least 6 weeks old at this point, but it's just a little too small to stand on that roost. So didn't expect it to last on there all night, and lo and behold, when I came out this morning, it was on the ground. So put it back on the roost. Hopefully it stays up there for the rest of the evening or rest of the early morning at this point. Thankfully, the temperatures did not get into the 40s, at least not yet. It's, I would say, mid-50s tops. I could be wrong because I am recently out of my slumber, but that's at least how it feels. It's not that cold. It's not as cold as I thought it was going to get. So hopefully with any luck, that chick will stay on the roost at least until it's light out and warm enough out to have them all go out together. So that's the plan. And ideally, hopefully tonight, now that it's, the next day, hopefully now when the rest of the hens go into the coop tonight, the chicks will follow them. That's the theory. That's what should have happened last night, but we'll see. Hopefully now that they've been placed inside the coop, they'll kind of get the message that, hey, this is where I'm spending the night from now on. We'll see how it goes. I'll see you guys in the morning.
It's 7:30, and it looks like the chicks did okay finding their way outside today. 4 hens are doing all right. They're going to free range today. Same with the chicks. I'm going to be keeping an eye on them because obviously they need to find their way back home tonight, but hopefully all goes well. Still no sign of the missing hen, but hopefully she turns up. I should also say that I'm a little bit nervous about the chicks and how they're integrating into the flock. If you notice, when I was opening up the fence to let them free range, they were completely separate from the flock. The 2 chicks were together and they were chirping, but the other hens, they just didn't want anything to do with them. So hopefully it's just because they're small, and once they get a little bit larger, they'll start to work their way with the rest of the birds. As you can see though, Mama's still shadowing them a little bit. Not that much, but just enough to kind of keep an eye on them. Not really keeping them in line necessarily, but just sticking close, which is good to see. Also on today's agenda, we need to harvest the heirloom potatoes as well as the russets. Today it's supposed to get down to 29 degrees, at least tonight it is. So we need to make sure we get those potatoes out of the ground so that they don't freeze. Obviously if they freeze, they're going to go bad. And why have I left them in the ground for so long? You can see that the tops on those have died off. The russets have also died off, as you can see right there. So why did I leave them in the ground for so long? Well, it was an experiment. Definitely not me being lazy. I was experimenting. And what I wanted to see is I've heard that in the past, people, before refrigeration and whatnot, they would dig the potatoes up out of the ground and just put them right back into the ground for storage. Rain wouldn't affect them. Temperature wouldn't affect them as long as it didn't freeze. So that's kind of what I'm testing out. Can I leave the potatoes in the ground even if the tops have all completely died off? That's the thought. We're going to test it out. We're going to see how it goes. And let's remember, we have 73 pounds of potatoes so far. So all we need are 27 more pounds. And we're at 100, baby. Triple digits. Let's see if we get it. So while the other hens are off on a free-ranging adventure, Mama's thankfully keeping her chicks a little bit of company inside the run here. I'm happy about that because I was worried about these chicks today not getting along with anyone, so glad to see that. And being as we're getting into some colder temperatures and getting close to winter, I'm thinking about winterizing the chicken coop and what I could do to make things better than last year. And on the A-frame, I'm having some different ideas. I'm not sure if they're going to stay. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but let me flip the camera around, show you what I'm thinking. So there's the coop with the A-frame, still in really good shape. The logs have shrunk just a little bit, being as they've been sitting in direct sunlight for the past year, drying out. But if we come to the back here, you'll see my groundbreaking, earth-shattering invention of putting metal siding on the side of a structure. So, obviously this is the north side. We don't get any sun on the north side because we are so far north, but we do get a lot of north wind during the winter. And while the logs do a great job of keeping the snow out, there was never any snow piling up over here, in the center, or anywhere like that. We get a bunch of wind that always blows through and blows into the coop. So I really want to prevent that the best I can, and I think this is going to do it. Status update on harvesting the potatoes. We've harvested the first, we'll call it 6 feet of the row. And this is what we got so far. I think we're going to pass 100 pounds. Now, I did misspeak earlier saying that we had 73 pounds total so far. We actually have 72 pounds total. I messed up in the initial potato video and it just stuck in my brain. So we're going to keep on harvesting this row. Like I said, it's about a 45-foot long row, so we got another 40-ish feet to go. Should have kept the camera rolling. This is the next plant that I picked up. You can see that we have a pretty good amount off of this one. Now, looking at them, they're not that big, but they're not soft, they're not turning green, they're not rotting at all. They're pretty much perfect, so I think my little experiment of laziness turned out to be right. Here's the plant that I just pulled up. That's a pretty good harvest just off of one plant. But check out this bucket. I would say that's at least 10 pounds. I think we're going to pass 100 pounds just finishing off this row. Check out the size of these guys. Pretty good if you ask me. All of the russets have been harvested, and how much did we get? 2 completely full buckets, basically to the rim. We got more of the russets than we did of the Yukon Golds, and we had, I don't remember, 47 pounds, I want to say, of the Yukon Golds, so this is going to be a lot. I am very happy about this. You guys probably know what time it is. We got to get a final weigh-in on these russets before we take them downstairs to cure and eventually put them into long-term storage. So we have our scale here. It is zeroed for a 5-gallon bucket. I know you guys may not be able to see it from there, but you're just going to have to take my word for it. So that's zeroed, and as a little reminder, we need 28 pounds to hit 100 pounds total harvest so far. And I'm going to say that these buckets are pushing about 28 pounds. So if we start with the first one, we are right at 26 pounds on that one. So we are 2 pounds shy of 100 pounds.
Now, what do you think? Do you think the other bucket that's completely full of potatoes, do you think that has at least 2 pounds in it? I'd say so. Let's see, how do we do? This one also has just a hair over 26 pounds, which, if I'm doing my calculations in my head and my mathematics, carry the 7, divide indivisible by 1, we are looking at a total harvest so far of 124 pounds of potatoes. I can't tell you how happy that makes me. I know that's not any record-breaking harvest or anything, but for someone who has no idea what he's doing, for someone who's just trying to be self-sufficient, that's awesome. I'm so happy with that. Now it's time to go out and harvest the heirloom potatoes from the raised bed. Not totally sure how that's going to go because it's the raised bed. I'm going to try using a pitchfork to dig them out, as most people would do in a raised bed. But once again, not totally sure how it's going to go. I'm just happy with what I have so far.
Here's the raised bed harvest so far. I'm just going around with the pitchfork digging up the soil because it's a little bit too tough to dig in there with my hands, and I don't want to use the shovel and wreck those guys. I only have the center section to go, but even though this isn't a massive harvest, it's still probably 7-8 pounds, which is a lot more than I got last year, so beggars can't be choosers. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see if we could get at least 10 pounds out of this raised bed. Good morning, everyone. It is 6:45. It is 35 degrees out right now. I was woken up to the sound of a unhappy chick, so we are going down right now to see what that's all about. I didn't have time to film the final weigh-in for the heirloom potatoes. I had some other stuff come up, so we got to do that today as well. Let's get down and see the mess that I have. So the chicks seem to be doing okay. They definitely don't like the cold weather, but they're doing all right. I'm not going to let the birds free range today because they haven't been laying eggs in their nesting box, and I don't need another broody hen or a hen to go disappear on me again. So we are going to keep them fenced in today, and hopefully we don't have any scraps or squabbles coming off of these birds. I should also say last night when I was closing up the coop, the largest chick did find its way up onto the roost next to Mama, right in the same spot I put it the night prior. But unfortunately, the smaller chick was right back in the original nesting box, just sitting there waiting for Mama to come. So I had to move it back onto the roost, but this time it lasted on the roost. And not only that, when I came out earlier this morning to check on him, it was actually sitting underneath Mama hen on the roost. So Mama was still brooding that chick just on the roost inside of the main coop. That's really cool. That's awesome to see. So they're still getting along. They're still doing good.
Before we close out this video, we need to get a weight on these heirloom potatoes and then add that to the total for the 2021 potato harvest. I can't tell you how excited I am to see that total amount. It has been so much work and such a long time coming that I just really hope we get a good total. We're already over 100 pounds, so I can't really complain, right? Now, I was just thinking about this. These heirloom potatoes, being as they're quite a bit smaller than the Russets or the Huckleberries or even the Yukon Golds, the volume they fill up is going to weigh more than the same volume of those previously mentioned potatoes. So even though we only filled up about a half a bucket, a little more than half a bucket, they still weigh, I'm going to say, over 10 pounds but below 20, somewhere around there. Hopefully that made sense. Because there's a smaller air gap, you could fit more of the smaller potatoes in the same amount of space. Therefore, it weighs more. Yada, yada, yada. Let's put it on the scale and see how much we got. I'm going to do my best to balance this, but no promises. I just really don't want to tip over. We are right at 16 pounds of heirloom potatoes, which if we add that to the already harvested 124 pounds, we have a grand total of, drumroll please, 140 pounds of organically grown Idaho potatoes. That's more than enough potatoes to last me through the winter, all the way into late spring, and is going to give me enough left over to replant once the frost melts. I can't tell you how happy this makes me, because this is honestly a massive step in becoming more self-sufficient. Being able to grow crops like this and replant them over and over again, that's a big step. And also being able to harvest so much and have so much last, hopefully last, we'll see at least. That's also a massive step. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, because this honestly makes me incredibly happy. If you did enjoy, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Share the video with someone you think also might enjoy it. Hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload a video. Leave any comments or questions if you have any comments or questions. And with that, you guys, thank you for watching. Think for yourself, shoot straight, and I will see you next time.